Hi everyone. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Harshdip Deogan. He is the co-founder of Eztrackr, helping job seekers stay organized on their job search. Recently, they launched some cool new features that we'll talk about later on in the show. Welcome.
Hey, Colton, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I just started my day. I'm just 10 here. Yeah.
Awesome. Before diving deep in Eztrackr, I would love to learn more about who you were growing up and your background before starting to build it.
Sure. Well, right now I'm based in Toronto, but I was born in India and I moved to Canada as an international student. I'm a full stack software developer. I did my bachelor's here and now I'm working full time. And that's my background. I have a major in computer science and a minor in mathematics from the University of Windsor.
Awesome. So working full time as well as building, how do you balance that?
This kind of starts from my academics. When I was studying, I used to go to these hackathons on the weekends and also working on side projects. So I had some kind of practice, balancing studies while also making side projects. And Eztrackr did start as a side project when I was on my fourth year. So it's all about time management. And recently, when I'm making Eztrackr a more real thing, I might transition to just focusing on that full time. But otherwise, it's a good balance right now. Since we're just starting out, it's been 4 months. We're seeing some good feedback. So let's see what the future holds.
Sounds great. Yeah, that's always the goal. Can you tell us about the story on how you came up with the idea for Eztrackr?
Sure. So, Eztrackr was one of the side projects and something that I wanted a tool for myself when I was looking for full-time jobs. Yeah, I've had three internship experiences at this point in when I was doing my bachelor's, and I started looking for full-time. And even during my internship hunt or when I was looking for full-times, my idea is to track all the applications that I'm making, submitting online. So obviously when you're starting out, especially as a new grad, you have to just send like 100 applications, then you get an interview from one. So that's how it is. So, and since I want to track everything, I was using a spreadsheet. So I was using Google Sheets to, copy paste company name, position name, job description, some important notes. When did I apply to them? All of that. And it was like, copy, change tab, paste it, then go back, copy, paste. So I was like, there must be a way to automate it. And I found some tools online, but they weren't as effective or they were behind a paywall. So I was like, it seems like a simple tool. And like maybe I can try creating it for myself. So my idea is always to solve something for myself and while also learning something new. So I was new to Chrome extensions and I was like, I'm going to create a Chrome extension that would just read all the data for me and save it somewhere else. And I decided that Trello would be a great tool for that because, Trello has a Kanban board. You can just use their API to send stuff. So I made an extension in a week. I made it open source and I was just using that for Trello and I could see all my listings of where I'm applying, where am I interviewing on Trello. So that was going good. And open source was like, it kind of meant semi-viral within my university and at least somewhere there because it was Hacktoberfest was a thing going on in October where people have to, like people who participate in this kind of competitions or events, they help other open source projects. So it kind of went semi-viral with it. I had a lot of people just submitting their on Eztrackr and I was like, okay, well, people are liking it. People like it. So I was like, okay, perfect. And yeah, that's what it is. I found a full-time job while working on it. So kind of like it got looking for full-time jobs, making a tool for that got me full-time jobs. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, that was the end of Eztrackr at that point because I didn't look into it again. But recently, after 3 years, I noticed that it has had 40 consistent users weekly. So every week there's been like 40, 43 users. Like maybe I can do something about it. So that's when I decided to talk to my friend Aman and we decided to get started on Eztrackr from fresh start, no open source code, just starting from beginning. And now we're 3 co-founders working on it and we launched 3 months ago.
Awesome. It sounds like a tremendous experience. And so I have a side business as well, Master CV, where I help people with their resumes and LinkedIn optimization and interview prep. And this is a great tool to add to that package?
Absolutely. As a job hunter, there's several processes. There's like 7, 8 things you get to land a full-time job. You get started with building a resume, building a cover letter, building that online presence on LinkedIn. Then you start applying to jobs, and then you need a tracking system. And after that, you need help with interviews. So there's several stages as a job seeker, we can get help. We have so many resources. So while we are on that second stage where you're applying to jobs and having a system to track them for you, show great statistics on, okay, how many I'm applying every day? How's my progress going? And like things like, but before that, you do need to have a solid resume, a solid LinkedIn presence, and know how to network to people. So yeah, like it kind of like this kind of collaboration makes a whole suite of resources given to a job seeker.
And that's what it's all about, really making the job search process easier.
Exactly. Yeah.
So going off that, would you share the story about how you gained your first 100 users?
Sure. So how that happened? Okay. Well, when we launched, we were on that MVP phase. We didn't launch any beta. We just launched. We were like, okay. So we replaced Trello. There was no Trello anymore. We had our own application with a Kanban board, some simple statistics. And that's about it. And a new Chrome extension. That's it. Like we launched. And by launch, I mean, we just told people on our Discord servers, on Slacks, that this is a project that we're working on. And that was it. We didn't do any marketing, did any like any early access or collected any emails or anything. Just going to people, validating the idea. Like we went to business meetings, meetups in Toronto, and just talked to people, like people who are looking for jobs. Because this is something that you would use. Because how do you track your application? Some people said they don't track at all. Some people said they use Notepad, they use Google Sheets. So there was some kind of validation that people might use this product. And that's when we were like, okay, let's launch it. Let's just tell these people that this thing exists. And surprisingly, like within a week, we had 100 users because one thing went viral in a Slack channel, which has like thousands of job seekers looking for jobs. And Hardik is the third co-founder of Eztrackr. And he just posted that we're working on a project that will help you track your applications easier. And we had 100 users in a week. So that was a huge motivation for us to be like, okay, this is a great start. Let's keep working on it.
That's crazy. So congrats on that. Definitely. Yeah. That's something to be proud of. You definitely have some traction gaining. How did you meet your co-founders?
Well, there's Aman and then there's Hardik. Hardik is based in India, and we studied school together. So I know him since primary school. So he's also a full-time software developer, and he did computer science, bachelor's in computer science. And so I knew about his skills, and I knew that if I want someone to be a co-founder to Eztrackr, I think would be the one. But before that, Aman is who I studied in University of Windsor with. So he was the one I went to with the idea that, okay, I'm seeing 40 users consistently for a project I made 3 years ago. I think we should do something about it. So that's when we were like, okay, let's get started. And about a month later, when we were like, let's keep the traction going, let's add some more skills to it. Let's add some more tech time, development time to it so we can release it earlier. I went with Hardik because I knew about his skills, and we were like, okay, let's do it. So once Hardik joined, about a month later, we were ready with the MVP to launch.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely a hack to start something with people you already know.
Yeah, I know that's all it helps. Yeah.
I know like YC has like a startup co-founder matcher as well as like an app called Coffee Space, but yeah, you're definitely there.
Yeah, working with someone who you already know, who you know their skills and who you personally know how to communicate with them, and like all of these things help. Like if I were to compare that to finding a co-founder online, I think there could be you don't know how the person is, and you don't know you can't just judge someone just by their skills. Maybe the person is amazing, but you don't know how they go in as a team. But if someone we are friends with, who you know for more than 5 and 15 years, that's all that you know how it's gonna go. So it's exactly great both for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I know YC recommends like you do a test project before committing to becoming a co-founder, and definitely that's a great idea. So going off of that, let's jump into talking about confidence. Have you ever experienced self-doubt, or can you share a story where you had to gain confidence?
I think that's part of the Psycho Cannon event. You have to get demotivated at some point where you're like, is my idea working? Is it validated? And there's several instances when sometimes, and at the beginning of the launch, where people were like, we're spending so much time on it, almost full time on top of our full time jobs. Like, is it gonna be fruitful? So we did get that time sometimes. We're like, is it worth it? And that's when validation helped a lot. Just talking to current job seekers, which was including me at some point, like, would you use a product that can help you track your jobs? And the validation was a huge boost. There is people are there, people are ready to use it. And some of our competitors, when we're doing some research on how are people discovering them and how are people using them and how many times people mention them. So that kind of validation gave us that, yes, there's a market for it. That was our main concern whenever we lost confidence. Like, we're building such a great product, but are people going to use it? That was the top one confidence thing.
I
And
appreciate that.
like just validation. And the second solution was just posting on Reddit. Like like 2 weeks ago, we just made a post on Reddit, and that was like, how do you track your applications? I use Eztrackr. Like, that was the simple, like, 150 word post without even a link of Eztrackr. But people went ahead, went to Google, searched for Eztrackr and made accounts. And within that week, we had more than 100 users again. So that was like a viral post without any links to Eztrackr. So these kind of things gives you a lot of confidence that, yes, there's some validation there.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know Sam Parr from My First Million. He always recommends going on Reddit. So was
Mhm.
that a subreddit?
Yeah, we were currently only targeting one subreddit related to job seeking, but we're just making sure that we're not spamming Reddit or anything. We're making constructive posts so that people who are discovering a post are actually discovering something new or learning something new. It's not just spamming everywhere. Use Eztrackr for job tracking. It's more like a constructive so that people who don't even need it do get educated about it. So that's how we're doing it. But currently only targeting one or two subreddits. We might expand that later.
Great. I'm definitely going to have to check that out for my own business.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
So going off of that, what are some other key lessons you learned while building Eztrackr, and how have these lessons shaped your approach?
There's a lot of things you learn while working on a startup. I worked on side projects. I worked on a side project with Aman before 2 years ago. And one thing you learn is our main goal was, even if this doesn't take off, let's learn something new. So we chose a tech stack that at least one of us didn't know. We chose something that it's going to be helpful for us. So that was, either way, if nothing works out, we're great. Like, we're full stack developers, and we learned something that we haven't done before. But what we were completely new to was marketing. And that's like the hardest part of indie hackers and with building. So you can have a good product, but if nobody knows about it, nobody's going to use it. So learning the importance of marketing was a big deal. Like, we were still getting there. We're still trying to be consistent, especially on Twitter and LinkedIn. But that's the key. Like, once you have a product, don't just keep building on it. Don't keep wondering why people are not using it. And then, okay, let's add this feature. Let's add that feature. Don't keep adding features. Just build something once. Make a MVP. Just build something. Like, as soon as possible, just launch it. Once you have built a core feature that you have completed, that somebody can use it, just launch it. And then focus at least 50% of the time on educating people that this thing exists. If you don't do that, you're gonna always wonder why people aren't using it. Okay, let's make the UI better. Let's add this feature, let's add that feature. It's just gonna be like a development hell.
Great. Yeah, actually talking to the users is how you actually make the product work.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you share a story from a user that used Eztrackr to save a job opportunity and saw a positive impact?
Well, currently we do reach out to users, especially people who have been using for more than 4 weeks and people who stop using after 4 weeks, but we don't notice that they have a couple of jobs in their offer list. So it means they did get an offer.
Wow.
So Yeah. So before we had right now we have a feature where we ask for feedback directly once you move a job to offer that how did you like Eztrackr, if you can rate it, and how's your job. But before that, we were manually reaching out to users that how did you like Eztrackr? We've done some interviews with them as well. And the most feedback I've got is like that's also motivating is when I ask them, can you share it to other people? They're like, I'm already doing that. Like I'm already telling everyone to use Eztrackr because it's very useful. So they did find value in it. They did see the statistics and found that value. And they were always able to stay on top of their deadlines or never missing what they have to do next. So yeah, that's good. That's good.
Amazing validation again. So I'm not sure how it works with Chrome extensions, but how do testimonials work with those other than like the 5-star reviews?
You can give 5-star reviews and also write a review on Chrome Web Store. And right now, I'm manually reaching out to users for testimonials on Eztrackr itself because we're rebuilding our landing page to get the conversions better. So I am reaching out to some of the users for more testimonials so we can show them on the landing page. But otherwise, the other testimonials I can directly see from the web store.
Cool. I know of a tool, Testimonial.to. The UI interface of that is outstanding, and maybe check it out if you want.
Yeah, sure. I'll check it out.
And then regarding the user acquisition, you said you're focusing on LinkedIn as well as Twitter or X. So what's your progress on working on LinkedIn?
Most of our viral posts or most of the users come from Reddit because they go viral, and it's a bit difficult to be that viral on LinkedIn, especially with the concerns of like we already have full-time jobs. We don't want to keep talking about finding a job to our current employers. So that's always a blocker. But we do on the Eztrackr page, we always make updates on what the new features are coming, and we repost those, and we talk with users and the comment. But LinkedIn is something we have to explore on a better scale. But we haven't seen that much usage or that much conversion from LinkedIn because nobody comes from LinkedIn because it's all about connecting first. It's the most success we've seen on Reddit is because we're consistent on Reddit. It's just about getting more consistent on LinkedIn, and then we can have a better idea on if it's working or not.
Great. Yeah. Why break what works? But
Right.
for my business, I use LinkedIn a lot. So one aspect of doing that, we can search for people that have an open to work sign. And I mean, that would directly flow into your user base.
Yeah, that's something we did at the very beginning, right? Like right when we launched, I would reach out and text people who are open to work, but I don't think it works because you're just telling them that Eztrackr works. Eztrackr is a thing, and you should try considering it. I don't think we had a lot of users converting from that message alone. We need a better strategy, just talking more to content creators like yourself, who can like why talk to 10 people when you can talk to one people who the 10 people trust with the resources.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. So in our previous conversation, you mentioned that you're going to integrate some AI. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, very, very excited for those features coming out. This is something I've experienced myself when I'm applying to jobs. There are questions like, why do you want to work for us? Or do you have experience in this language? And these are some of the answers that you have to write down every time. And you want to, if you're saving you time, if you're saving the time of job seekers to not copy paste, not change tabs and do that. So we can save time in filling applications too. We can, and AI would, you can now, or how do I start? Like, you want to have you have a question, you entered everything and there's the question, why do you want to work for us? You can copy paste something that you wrote for one company and just paste it and then just change the name, or you can have something relevant. So what Eztrackr can do in coming weeks is it can read all, just like it reads the job title and description. It's going to read that, and you can upload your resume to Eztrackr, and then we can use AI to generate a cover letter with that information. So it's relevant to your resume and it's relevant to the job description. And it's not a cover letter because cover letters are long, formal, but we're focusing on like 150 to 200 words of an answer. They're catchy to the recruiter. Like, why do you want to work for us? Because I have skills in this, and you have mentioned this in job description. So it's like more catchy, more quick to read. And it's not as formal as writing a cover letter where you're like, dear hiring manager, this is my background, this is blah, 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 which is very generic. So that's one of the features that's rolling out soon. And there's more features coming, like especially for LinkedIn, like about me generator and headline generator. Those are some things that you should have before you even start job searching. So we're going to use AI for all these things.
Amazing. Yeah, short and to the point saves people time for sure.
Yeah.
So in your everyday workflow, are there any specific software or tools that help you out?
Do you mean just in terms of tech stack or just in terms of just everything?
Both. So tech stack as well as like
Okay.
Notion or like something, a software that you find valuable.
Yeah, we use Notion for just writing down meeting notes that we talk with other users or any potential recruiters or content creators, and just also talking about just having our own meetings and just discussing what the roadmaps are. We use Notion for that. We use Figma for design. We have designer Dennis who has all the who is designing everything in Eztrackr, and that's like number one compliment we get with Eztrackr is the design is very sleek and it's easy to use. So that's thanks to him. So yeah, Figma is a great tool. Like he's amazing at Figma, and that's yeah. And we use Linear for product management. Just we don't it's a small side project, so we're not that high on agile and sprinting, but we use Notion and Linear just to keep track of what's coming next, at least what we've been doing in the next 2 weeks. And
Great.
yeah, and in terms of tech stack, just we're using React for front end with Tailwind and Laravel for backend.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, the design is outstanding. Like it's very easy to use. I downloaded it myself and you don't really need any help to figure out how to use it.
Right. Yeah. We tried the onboarding as seamless as possible so you know exactly what you're going to expect there.
So moving on, looking back on your journey so far, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs or people who are just starting to develop their own ideas and ventures?
Oh, okay. So that's something that I'm going to just read. Always just launch as soon as something is ready. And what by ready, it means on the one core feature that you're making. Don't do everything. If you're talking about authentication, don't build your authentication system. Just put a sign in with Google and get started. Like don't spend time doing entire feature list of everything, writing privacy policy. Just generate a privacy policy online. Just do everything as quickly as possible and just ship it and then validate your idea so you can see that people are going to use it, that people are giving you feedback and you see a market for it. And then start iterating, making it better. But if you just keep adding features over and over, it's never going to be complete. You're just going to be overwhelmed and thinking about competitors that my competitor has like 10 features within this feature. I only have one. They didn't make 10 features all at once. They also started with just one feature. So just do that and then ship it.
Great advice. So in daily life, habits are important as well. Do you have any habits that you do on a daily basis?
I think one habit is you just need one big habit that you need to stay focused on, and that's consistency. Don't rely on motivation to help you work. Don't rely on motivation to keep marketing. Be disciplined and be consistent. Sometimes you don't want to post on Reddit. Sometimes you don't want to write on Twitter, but if you're consistent, you'll start seeing the results. It's all about consistency and not motivation. If you just rely on that, some days or some weeks, you're just never going to do anything.
Definitely. So going off of that, do you have any ideas for other businesses for aspiring entrepreneurs that you would build if you had the time?
Well, like I have a list of things that, when something comes up, I'm just going to write it down. Even if it's like a completely useless thing or something, it could be big. If you're staying in that job seeker domain, I'll start with think about what job seekers do from beginning to end, from starting to look for a job to finally getting an offer. So just think about those things. Think about what's missing in a job seeker market or a recruitment market, and then see what you can bring, what kind of solution you can make. there's something that I thought about recently was when I'm using Lead Code for practicing for interviews. And sometimes you need help with LinkedIn Lead Code. Sometimes you need some hints or like, what do I do next? So you always rely on solutions. So I was thinking of a side project where I can make those hints look better. So you don't have to pay for Lead Code Premium and having a database of hinting. So you don't actually see a solution, but you still get hints. That's one of the ideas I thought of. And it's a quick idea. It's something you can make quickly. And that's my advice. Just think of side projects as something amazing to learn, and while also solving your own problems. So, like if you try to find of a startup idea that you don't relate to, you're not gonna make anything. So find a problem in your life and then find a solution for it.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so I'm currently learning how to code and Xcode for Swift iOS.
Mhm.
And I think having a sidebar with hints would definitely help, because sometimes the build doesn't execute and you're like, now I have to go Google this or figure
Right.
it out. So that's definitely a great idea.
Right.
So lastly, where could people connect with you? And how could listeners be of help to you?
I'm mostly active on Twitter, and we have a LinkedIn page that I would love, and that's where we post all the new updates. But the best way to reach out directly to me is our Discord server of Eztrackr. So that's where current users mention any new feature requests they have, or if they are experiencing any bug. So that's like the quickest and direct way to have a community, because that's where also we share new things like help with resume or cover letter, and just any other advice as a job seeker or recruiter. So that's we're trying to build that community there on Discord. But otherwise, reaching out directly to me is through Twitter or LinkedIn, which we can mention. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll definitely mention that in the link. How did you decide on Discord?
We wanted to start with a community. Like, I think having a community is great for any product where you can relate to other users and share information. And we didn't want to build our own community. We didn't want to create like a social media kind of platform where you can make posts and comment. That was too much work for now. So we settled with it was either Slack or Discord. And Discord seems like a more like less formal way to, yeah. So we just went with Discord for now.
Great. And do you have any last minute thoughts?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff. Yeah.
It was a pleasure having you on Change with Colton, episode 3. Remember to be grateful and stay blessed.
All right. Thanks, Colton.